The content, views, and opinions expressed in the following program are those of the producer and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of the City of Bremerton, BCAT, their officials, or their employees. Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Kitsap Literary Artists and Writers Artisan and Creative Showcase. My name is Mark Miller, and today I have a special guest. We're going into the music world, and his name is Gerry Dupuis, and he owns a vinyl injection store down in downtown Port Orchard, and he has a long history in the music industry, so I wanted to really pick his brain. Thanks for coming today.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So we were talking the other day, and you told me how you really got into the music scene when you were a kid, and I think it had to do with somebody over here and one of these.
Yeah, it certainly did.
Yeah.
That and my sister, actually.
Okay.
She had Beatle records. She's 13 years older than me, so. You know, when the Beatles came out, she had all the records, and I was like maybe 6, 7 years old and playing on her record player and got involved, loved music. It hit me like bang, So
after you got into that, I guess your Beatle years, what was your next step? Did you get
my next step was, well, I wanted to be Ringo. And that was it. So I loved the drumming, So as I grew up as a teenager, I bought a drum set and practiced, joined the band, and
Did you drive your parents nuts with the drums?
No, we were a very musical family to begin with, so to them it was normal, It's like
what other instruments kind of was in your family?
My mother played the harmonica. I'm Cajun, so we had a lot of Cajun music where I'm from, right? So,
cool.
That was always a thing at our house.
So, how old were you when you were in your first band?
I was 16.
16.
16, and I was playing with a bunch of guys who were married, and we were playing in bars. So, when I wasn't playing, they would kick me out with a break because I was too young to be in the bar, but they would let me play, so that's how that began,
For how long did you do that?
For about a year.
Oh, okay.
That was,
But that kind of gave you a foot in the door?
Yes.
Bands like
it gives you a taste of learning stuff, learning your mistakes live.
Yeah.
Because you do a bunch.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that's how you get your experience, back in the day, So.
And when you were, I take it you were definitely a rock and roll band.
Yes, we were. But then when I got older, somebody came and saw me in a bar when I was like 19, and 3 weeks later I got a call from Montreal to audition for a blues band.
Oh.
So I went, gathered my stuff, took the bus, 18-hour drive.
Yep.
Got there was like about 30 drummers in an afternoon in a bar. Jeez. I had no idea what I was getting into. Anyways, I was the last drummer to try out. I played 3 songs. They looked at me and said, "You're the guy." And I went back home. 3 days later, I was in Montreal, stayed there 25 years playing music.
God.
Yeah.
That's a long time.
On the road, man. We were on the road.
All with the same band?
Yeah, different bands. Like I did the on the road tour thing with that band for 6.5 years, and then You know, everybody goes south somewhere sometimes, and then you join another one, and then you continue, you know.
But can you name the name of the first band?
Willie Thornton.
I've heard that name.
Yeah, yeah. Willie Thornton, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, good blues band, actually. The singer just passed away last year, so good friend of mine. But
I'm sad to hear that.
we always kept in touch no matter what, you know, so.
And that brings up the whole subject of various types of music.
Of music, of course. When you go into a big city, Montreal is a big jazz and blues scene back then, you know, and metal and punk for that matter. Like, you know, everything was happening. So, you know, I got to learn and experience different music that, you know, you wouldn't where I was-ish.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't in your face like it was over there. So you learned a lot. So
Well, that's cool.
And then a friend of mine had a record store, and when I was on break, I would go work at his store just to do something. So here we are.
So so that got you really into vinyl.
So I learned a lot. Yes. And I was a collector when I was a kid, you know, because I played my sister's records and stuff.
And it's doing a comeback. Now, about 10, 15 years ago, all of a sudden, everybody started getting into the old idea of, I want to hear that vinyl pop. You know, I want to hear that little extra special
Right. Exactly. Well, it's something you hold in your hand and you feel. It's like a book, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, it means something when you own something.
Well, now,
in a sense.
Did the bands you were in, did they record on vinyl at all? Did you?
No. It was too expensive-ish. But we did a lot of cassettes. We did.
Oh, okay.
CDs were starting to come out then, you know, so we did all that. But we were on the road mostly playing in big clubs, backing up bands, other bands or our own, or, you know, we had an agent, and where he sent us, we went. You know, that's just how it was. But back in the day, the clubs, they were big clubs,
right?
Like 7 days a week. There was people there. It's not like it is now. You know, it's a different scene now.
Yeah, well, things change. People stay home. They want to watch everything on big screen TV.
Exactly, like technology kind of.
Yeah, kind of killed a lot.
A lot of that. You know,
which is, I find unfortunate.
Yeah.
I remember.
Oh, there's venues, but not as much as, and plus a lot of venues don't pay as much. It's hard to make a living playing music. You know, it's just how it is.
You gotta have an in or be a big name and play at Indian casinos, stuff like that.
Exactly, and that gets old pretty quick. I'd rather be in an original band than being a cover band.
Oh,
you know, it's tougher, but you know, it's more enjoyable.
Well, that's cool.
I find, but anyway.
So, when you first started out in your music career with the drumming and stuff, did you actually primarily play by ear, or did you?
Yes, yeah.
Oh, okay.
I played by ear. I don't read music or anything, but you know.
Well, my granddad played about 4 or 5 instruments all by ear, same thing.
Oh, okay, right.
I always have people that have that natural ability. I'm jealous of, because I have absolutely no natural music ability.
It was just something that was in me, man. You know, I wasn't looking out to be the greatest drummer or the greatest trick guy, or I just played. Right. You know, and made a living at it. So I was happy just to do that, you know.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's.
And then one day you decided you were going to get into business.
Yeah, I had too many records, and then I thought, you know what, I'm going to start selling some of mine, and then it turned into I got more now than I had before, because that's how it works, right? But it's fun, you know. Now I see albums like that, it's memories for people. Yeah. You know, music is memories, really. Like the teenage years, it's not memories yet, but it will be later on. And there's a lot of people comes to the store, hey, do you have this? Because it reminds me of my grandpa or my mom, or something bad happened, and they just need to feel that, or happy time, or whatever. So it makes me happy to see people finding a memory.
Yeah.
So.
And I'll have to second that because, like, I was in high school when Iron Butterfly came out.
Okay.
And
that far back, huh?
Yeah, I'm old. I'm old.
Me too. I'm getting there, man.
My joints creak, all this other jazz. So, we had a little student room that you could go there, and they had somebody was smart and put a jukebox in there, and you could put 20.
Right.
All that jazz. So, the Iron Butterfly, and the funny thing about it, it wasn't so much Inagata DeVita, which came a little bit later, but the Iron Butterfly theme, one of their first big things, that song wound up in a Hell's Angels movie.
Correct. It did. Right? It did.
That's kind of what started them off on a bigger.
Absolutely. Same as Steppenwolf, right? Born to be Wild. Boom.
Oh yeah, Born to be
big hit.
I'm glad you bring Steppenwolf up. Born to be Wild. I've decided that I've still got to write. As you get older, you got to think about crap like this.
Right.
I got to write. What are they going to do at my funeral? Or I'm going to have a wake. To heck with the funeral. We're going to have a wake.
Right.
So one of the songs I want to play is Born to be Wild, because you start thinking about all the weird stuff you did when you were growing up.
Absolutely.
And even older.
Exactly.
And so what do you do? Oh, I'm born to be wild,
Right.
And so that was always one of my many theme songs. So like you say, that song is memory. And so when you...
Absolutely. So every time you hear it, it brings you there.
Yep.
So
you're driving down the road.
So that's why I like about this.
Yeah.
Right. So
what's
good?
What's in vinyl? What is kind of selling now, or is there any specific thing?
Wow, it's hard to say. Teenagers, they a lot of them wants to go back to where it.
Oh, really?
Classic rock or even jazz for that matter, but not all. Some teenagers, the new stuff that's out.
A lot of them got into hip hop.
Yeah. So, it all depends. It all depends. But I get, all ages. They, like I said, they like to own something, and it's good. It's you put the needle on and. You watch it spin and you listen. You pay more attention than just streaming on your phone.
That's true.
To me.
Yeah. No, I have to agree. I think playing an actual record is more of an experience than, like you said, the streaming, all that jazz.
Absolutely. It's just something that if you never did that before, I think you should try and see.
Oh yeah.
What it is.
I remember growing up. Once again, I'm old, so we had one of those old little single turntable.
Yes.
Little record player, and I remember we had a classical record that had bolero on it.
Okay.
And for some reason, I always liked that specific piece with bolero. So I used to, as a kid, play it over and over and over again.
Right.
I don't know where that record is now, if it still exists. But yeah, like you said, it brings back certain.
Of course, even classical. I sell classical.
Yeah.
People have, classical is good music too.
Oh,
it's not in your face enough like it should be, but it's good music.
Yeah.
I listen to it all the time when I'm home. I love classical, but.
Yeah, I think, like you said, you get those memories, but then you also, some of the memories, because of media now.
Right.
Sometimes it stops being the songs, and then it turns into the artists,
right.
Stuff like the Beatles.
Exactly.
And of course they changed their music.
Of course.
And then they disappeared.
Yes. Well, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's, when they came out, it was wow.
There was
it opened a different door for a lot of people. They sold the guitar business like went poof.
Yeah.
Because everybody wanted to be a musician because they had all the girls. So there you go, right? No, it's true, right? So, you know, when I saw Ringo for the first time, I was like, that's what I want to do.
Yep.
And I went for it. You know.
Well, I remember there was a quote that they claimed is attributed to Jimi Hendrix, that when he first heard the Beatles and started seeing them perform, he smiled and said, "Thank God we don't have any more of that blankety blank surfing music."
I can see that.
Yeah, that's
No, but I can see
Yeah.
that. Yeah, because that's what it was.
Yeah. I remember the Beach Boys, and I'm old enough to remember they had all of those teen movies.
Yes.
All set down in California.
Yeah.
And everybody had surfboards
on the beach, man.
on the beach, and they were horrible movies. But all it was it was playing towards us little 14, 15, 16-year-olds that, you know, the hormones are going crazy.
Well, yeah.
You're seeing people running around, you know, kissing, and they're all in the, you know, on the
Right,
beach
right.
in their swimsuits and all that jazz. So I made a lot of money.
Well, yeah, of course,
Plot of the movie sucked, but they made a lot of movies.
but it was happy music, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
It was happy
but then they came out, and you know, Hendrix came out, and
Oh, yeah.
you know, it was a different level.
We had a guy down when I was working in El Paso. There was a guy that he used to open up his talk show with Jimi Hendrix version of the national anthem. Mm-hmm. And we actually had people call up and complain, saying, "You're not playing the national anthem, that's disrespectful." And I sat there and said, "What are you guys, stupid? Do you even understand the story behind that song when he made it?"
Right,
And
exactly.
when you listen to how much he put into that, and you're trying to tell me how it somehow was disrespectful? Come on, people.
Yeah,
It was just ridiculous.
Opinions.
Well, I know. It's just, but I guess that's
No,
the
right,
flip
right.
side of that whole
Exactly.
music thing.
Exactly.
Is how people get
Riled up.
they get wound up. Now, you know, I mean, there was a big controversy when they started coming out with the quote unquote suggestive lyrics, when everybody claimed they were making everybody become violent and go nuts and all that jazz.
Yeah.
And I remember that big controversy. And there was a certain extent there was shock, but there was the music behind it.
Of course.
You know.
You know, Frank Zappa was very involved in, in that. I'm a big Zappa fan, so, you know.
Well, I saw Frank Zappa live in Las Vegas.
I never seen them, and we never crossed paths
Oh, man.
that I had a chance
That is
to.
the only actual formal concert I ever went to. Frank Zappa concert with a bunch of friends in Vegas.
But I have a lot of live shows that I've collected throughout
yeah.
the years that, you know, I'm satisfied.
No, yeah,
you know.
but that was so funny though, because there was talking about how people's reaction to music, and there was this one guy, and he's probably early 30s, and he's over here on the side, then he's standing up on the side aisle that runs down the
Mm-hmm.
side, and Frank Zappa's up there playing it, and this guy's he's standing up and he's doing this in the air, you know, trying to keep sound, and Zappa sees him, and he turns around and says, "Hey man, yeah, go for it." And then they start playing some more, and the guy keeps doing, you know, Frank Zappa's pointing at him and stuff like that.
Yeah, he was a pretty unique guy, man.
Oh yeah. You know, but
Not like these guys, but wow.
Yeah.
You know, a very talented guy.
Well,
A lot of people don't get it, but I do.
I have to admit that I think Zappa's probably, and people are gonna like, you know, run out and burn me in effigy, but I think Zappa's in some ways he's just as good as the Beatles were. Beatles have kind of become a legend, but
Right.
Zappa's-
Oh, absolutely. You know, he was pretty unique,
Yeah.
very smart guy.
And then of course I think he helped lead into Weird Al Yankovic.
Exactly.
You know, and who's still around.
He put humor in music,
Yeah, and that's
but very intricate music for that matter.
yeah.
You know, it's not something you're going to go home and learn in 5 minutes.
exactly. Yeah.
It's a thing.
Yeah.
You know, it's
Well,
a
I
thing.
think well, of course he did all of the riffs on all of the existing
Yeah, he wrote everything.
He wrote everything,
He
yeah.
wrote everything. Yeah.
Well, and he still is, you
Yeah.
know, and stuff like that. So it's nice to have. I guess in some ways he's a little bit of a transition into maybe a earlier time into some of the stuff they're doing now.
Right.
I will have to admit that I'm still a big old rock and roller, and I still like good old, you know, rock and roll and stuff like that. And of course, in the '60s, you had rock and roll, then you had hard rock, then you had they called acid rock for a while,
Yeah.
you know, all the weird stuff. And you used to go to the light shows where they had those pans full of oil with the
Yeah, absolutely.
And we sit here and we age. I age myself again.
I remember that.
All that stuff. But that was it was. I would say late '60s, early '70s were a very interesting time.
Yeah.
You know, in the quote unquote music world and everything. And of course, because of that, you've got all these great records and stuff.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's where I'm at. You know, I got a store and I like it.
And where's your store located
It's at Town Square Mall in Port Orchard.
And
downstairs, Suite 154.
And once again, it's vinyl
injection.
Vinyl injection. I want to say
Correct.
infusion. Why does my brain keep going?
I don't. It's
vinyl
injection. Yes.
Listen to him. Don't listen to me. Vinyl injection.
Yeah, it's downstairs, Suite 154.
And if you want to go in and have a nice conversation about music, just come in and talk to Gerry. And
I'd be
I
happy
think
to.
we need to have probably more conversations about music and more and records and vinyl and all that good stuff.
Music makes you young, man. Yeah.
We are
absolutely
human beings first started doing music around campfires when we were just back in probably Neanderthal or hominid days, and we still need that. We
absolutely,
still have that need
for sure.
I am glad that you came here. I talked to you a few months ago to try to get you here, and I'm glad I got you here because I think part of what people don't understand is creativity and artisan is not just painting or writing. It's a lot of music.
Absolutely.
And everything, and not only creating music, but playing music, because every time you play music, I'd say you put your own, a little bit of your own soul and stamp on it.
Absolutely.
Like so I'm really glad you came here.
Thank you, sir. It was a
I'm
pleasure.
going to do a little closeout now that I always do for the show. And this wraps up another show of the Kitsap Literary Artists and Writers Showcase involving artisans and creatives. Kitsap Literary Artists and Writers exists to help all types of artisans, not just people like me who are authors, but like people like Gerry who are musicians. We meet twice a month, that's first and third Mondays. We meet twice a month, first and third Wednesdays. What am I doing? Wednesday. First and third Wednesdays every month at the Denny's on Wheaton Way in Bremerton, Washington. Meetings start around 7 o'clock. We're usually there earlier. And it's open to all creatives, not just authors and writers and things like that. So we're always looking for new people to come by. We don't bite. And we try to help people get published or get their music out there or whatever we can. We try to find venues for people when possible. This specific interview is broadcast on Comcast Channel 12 and Astound Channel 3 or Channel 70 if you have digital. Saturdays at 6 p.m. Kitsap Literary Arts and Writers also has a YouTube channel that you can look us up, and I've got probably over 100 shows in the can. All various types of artisans that have been interviewed here. If it wasn't for Bremerton Kitsap Access Television and their staff, this would not exist. So always, if you see somebody from BCAT, always give them a big pat on the back. My publisher, who also has a film division and a little bit of a sound division, Blue Forge Group, also, they helped me do the editing on this show. So without them, once again, the show wouldn't be what it is. So, anybody who's interested in the arts, get a hold of Kitsap Literary Arts and Writers. Anybody who's also interested in maybe something to do with television, get a hold of Bremerton Kitsap Access Television. And with that, hope everybody in the audience has an excellent day, an astounding week, and a very productive year. And this is Mark Miller with Kitsap Literary Arts and Writers. Good day.